Wow. This is potentially huge, folks. Yeah. So, the new Superman movie, the James Gunn Superman movie, starring David Corenswet as Clark Kent slash Superman, is potentially in some big legal troubles. And if worst was to come to the worst, could mean that the film could be blocked from being released in several key territories. So, not even out of the gate, and the film is in trouble. You've already seen the trailers, we've talked about them. Let's get into this article from Deadline. Here it is. It says Superman estate sues Warner Brothers Discovery, DC Comics, to block release in key territories. So it says the estate of Superman creator Joseph Shuster is suing Warner Brothers Discovery and its DC Comics, claiming it lacks the rights to release the upcoming summer tentpole in a handful of key territories. This is a huge story that's been reported on in lots of different publications and by lots of commentators across social media. And I have to say, the DC cinematic universe really didn't need this at all. This film is really meant, I think, to relaunch DC in cinema in a big way, right when they need some wins, right? And when you think of it, they've had a couple of recent failures, the likes of The Flash, of course. I mean, we've talked about that extensively. Pretty poor movie. And then the likes of Blue Beetle, which was this... It felt like you're just throwing bits of Ant-Man and Iron Man, a bit of Spider-Man in there together. It was a really lackluster film. And neither of them were obviously successful at the box office or anything. They underperformed financially. So this film was really meant as a relaunch and a reboot and getting the DC universe in cinema back on track. And this is just the absolute last thing it would need. So the article continues. Plaintiff Mark Warren Peary, executor to the estate, filed the suit today in federal court in the Southern District of New York, seeking damages and injunctive relief for defendants' ongoing infringement in Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Australia, as well as declaratory relief establishing the Shuster estate's ownership rights across relevant jurisdictions. The matter is ripe for adjudication, it said, as defendants are actively planning a major new Superman motion picture and other derivative works for imminent worldwide release. The latest Superman starring David Corenswet in the title role is set for release on July 11th. The cast includes Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, Maria Gabriela De Faria as the engineer. Warner and Peary and his longtime legal team have been in court rather often before this, most recently regarding termination rights under the US Copyright Act, but the automatic foreign copyright revision issue in this case did not occur until years later, said Mark Toberoff, attorney for the estate, and was never actually litigated. Now it will be. So you can read the rest of the article. It's linked below, and there's more details there on the case. But I'll just go through a couple of things here. It says, we fundamentally disagree with the merits of the lawsuit and will vigorously defend our rights, said a WBD spokesman. At issue are foreign copyrights to the original Superman character and story, co-authored by Jerome Siegel and Shuster. Though Siegel and Shuster assigned worldwide copyrights to DC's predecessor in 1938 for a mere $130. Wow. The copyright laws of countries with the British legal tradition, including Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Australia, contain provisions automatically terminating such assignments 25 years after an author's death, vesting in the Shuster estate the co-author's undivided copyright interest in such countries, the suit said. It sounds very complicated indeed. It does sound like a very messy legal situation, to be honest. And wouldn't you know it, copyright being as messy as it is and not completely unified globally, is the issue here, it seems. Shuster died in 1992 and Siegel in 1996. By operation of law, Shuster's foreign copyrights automatically reverted to his estate in 2017 in most of these territories and in 2021 in Canada. Yet defendants continue to exploit Superman across these jurisdictions without the Shuster estate's authorization, including in motion pictures, television series, and merchandise, in direct contravention of these countries' copyright laws, which require the consent of all joint copyright owners to do so. Wow. Okay, well, I will leave the article linked for you to check out for yourself. Look, I thought the trailer made the film look pretty decent, but, trailers are trailers. That's what they're meant to do. It doesn't really mean too much else. There's been a subsequent teaser that's come out of Superman in flight that some people have complained about. They've complained that there's just something not quite right about the CG and his eye and this sort of thing. But other than that, there's very minor complaints about the film. It is potentially, and I really hope that it's a good movie, but this is potentially a roadblock that Warner Brothers Discovery are going to find themselves in and needs to be resolved because Ireland is a small country, but Canada, UK, Australia, they're very big territories for this movie, and yeah, that needs to get sorted pretty quickly because ultimately, if the film is prevented from being released in those particular territories, it is going to have a negative impact on the international box office, on the financial return for the film, obviously, and that just goes without saying. And if you look at, three big tentpole DC movies from the DCEU, the now defunct DCEU, which I'm not thrilled about. I liked the DCEU. I like the Zack Snyder vision of it, at least the Snyderverse interpretation, which I don't feel it was given its due. I think we needed more from him. I think he should have been given the opportunity to do more movies and to do another Justice League movie. But anyway, but if you look at the last three, basically you had Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom kind of broke even, I guess, made over $400 million from a $200 and something million budget. But that doesn't include its marketing costs, so it probably wasn't really that profitable at all. And then you look at The Flash, you look at Blue Beetle, like I say, they were not good at the box office at all. So this Superman movie was pivotal to the new direction for DC in cinema, and it needs to be good, but it can't have an issue like this. This is kind of fundamental. So we shall see how this plays out. I have to say, I'm looking forward to the movie. It's the first time we've had a dedicated Superman movie since Man of Steel in 2013. And I think some people didn't fully like that movie because it was a darker interpretation of Superman, and which I think is true. I quite like the movie. I've grown to quite like the movie now, actually, I have to say. Having said that, I do think that people want a return to the brighter, more colorful, hopeful, fun, joyful, optimistic version of Superman, which is what the character is really supposed to be, right? It's not really supposed to be. I think the thing with Man of Steel is, I could be wrong, but I think they were sort of looking at the success of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, the Dark Knight trilogy, and they kind of wanted to bring a little bit of that darkness and that grittiness to Superman, and it does work as a superhero movie. It's quite good that way, but the question is, did it work as a Superman movie? And yeah, that's kind of up for debate at this point. Anyway, I'm digressing. Let's hope that this gets resolved for this new Superman movie, because I'm genuinely optimistic for what James Gunn can do with it. So anyway, I'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.